Welcome to the next episode of our SQM Research Podcast. Today we actually have a special guest instead of Louis. We've got Harry today from FLNT.
Thanks, Sam.
Harry, welcome to the show and thank you so much for coming on. Today we've brought Harry in to talk a little bit about the role of AI in the property market. Harry, please tell us a little bit about FLNT.
Sure. So thanks for having me on, first of all. Good to see you guys again. It's been a while. FLNT is trying to make managing commercial property easy. So unlike resi, you guys are in resi. I've worked in resi quite a lot. In commercial, there's just really large portfolios, like clients like Guzman and Gomez, McDonald's, Vicinity Group, shopping center landlords. They have a lot of property. And right now, the systems that exist to actually manage all of this look like they were built on Windows XP, look like they're from 1990, and they haven't changed for 30 years. So there's so much clunkiness in trying to manage all of this property. And what happens is there's mistakes made. So if you look at councils, for example, they overpay for things they're not meant to pay for. They own a lot of property. They let people rent out their property. When things go wrong, that they're not responsible for, they end up paying for them anyway because they don't know where to find the details. They don't know how to read the documents. They don't know what processes to have in place to actually manage this well. So what we do is actually make it simple. We've developed a system called Accurate, which is, we think, the simplest way to manage that kind of property. And the way we made it simple is not just with AI, I'll talk about that in a second, but thinking about how everything's laid out, how the dashboards are created, which button goes where, is this really necessary? And we really adopted the strategy that less is more, whereas all these programs in the past of 27 different menus or 50 different menus for different things, we wanted to see, okay, what's really essential and build that. If a client wants something custom done, custom reporting, we can definitely help them with that, or they can do it themselves. We made it simple for them to be able to build those things themselves rather than have to rely on navigating all the complexity in the system. That was a really complex answer. I'm going to repeat and just say, we try to make commercial property management really simple. Where AI comes into it is with the documents. So commercial property in Australia is governed by commercial leases. So there's a lot of commercial lease agreements. For a resi property, you'll have kind of the same agreement. When you're renting a place, you'll see the same kind of agreement. Now, for your property now, if you move to a new property, it'll be a similar kind of agreement, nothing really crazy.
Standardized terminology.
That's right. Commercial property is completely different. You could have a 50-year lease for a hospital, that's triple net. You could have a retail lease. You could have an office lease. They're all very different. And it also depends on how old they are. Some of them could be handwritten, and there's terms that have been negotiated in those contracts that no one remembers. And if you think about bigger portfolios, over 100 properties, our largest client has about 1,400 properties. They don't remember what they negotiated 20 years ago on a property. So when something breaks or when something goes wrong, let's say the air conditioning is not working and my clients are coming in right now and this place is getting hot. We need to fix the aircon right now. Do I pay for this or does the landlord pay for this? Simple thing, but almost impossible to find when you have a huge portfolio and you don't know where everything is. So we use AI to figure out who's responsible to pay for what and really interrogate those documents as well. So you can actually ask a question, hey, for this location, for this property, am I responsible for this? Yes or no? Or what are the outgoings for this? And how do I calculate them? So you can really be very specific based on the documents you've given it. That's kind of what we do right now.
So when you're speaking to clients and when you're approaching them with this AI proposition and your products, what are the main things that I assume the things that you would focus on is obviously time saving would be one.
Yes.
Potentially legal fees, I'm guessing as well, so they don't need to get a whole team of lawyers to go through the documentation.
Good pickup. Yeah.
And I guess clarity and lack of mistakes across the agreement, like that level of ambiguity, I guess, dissipates when you've got something that creates clarity.
That's right. So for these property teams that manage all of these agreements. It's usually quite a small knit team, less than 10 people, max 15 people for a really, really big portfolio. And what happens is when something goes wrong and they need to find something quickly, it's impossible. They have to read a 150-page document, Control F, try to understand the legal clause. That's the way it's written is really
The
complex.
legalese, yeah.
And they can't do it, and I don't blame them. And it's not a very motivating job either. You don't really want to work for a long time in a place where you're just reading documents like this all the time and trying to find out what's going on. It takes hours. And mistake prone, of course, can be mistakes in there. So we do that in seconds. So now with FLNT, you can actually do that in seconds rather than spend hours and hours and hours a week trying to read leases and eliminate the mistakes, because AI's picked it up and it's actually grounded into the lease. So it's not hallucinating or anything. It's actually grounded to the document.
So when we're talking about AI and machine learning, I'm guessing the way that your product would work, which is a lot of these, the way these products work, is you probably feed them a lot of documents so it can read the document, understand the terminology, and then kind of get across it. Would that be?
That's right.
And a reasonable.
That's right. So what we do is the document itself is a PDF.
Yep.
We first do a thing called OCR, optical character recognition. So we actually pull out the text from the document.
Mm-hmm.
And then based on our expertise on how we've, like a commercial property expertise, we pull out the right bits of the lease and feed that into the AI model. So we don't have to feed the whole document into the AI model. We feed the parts that are relevant to the client. So a client could say, these 30 fields in the lease really matter to me, or these 60 fields in the lease really matter to me. That's what we feed into the lease, and any dependencies as well. So if you have a term that is dependent on another clause, we would pull that as well and put it into AI. Then we get the output back. So it's very fast. It's a lot faster than uploading a lease into ChatGPT. So a few people have asked me, what's the difference between this and if I upload my lease into ChatGPT, right? First thing is hallucinations. So a lease is a big document, like 150 pages, 200 pages, could be bigger. You upload that to ChatGPT, and it has limits on what it can take in, but it won't tell you when it hit the limit. Mm-hmm. So after it hits the limit, it starts hallucinating and getting things wrong. And for a document that could be worth millions of dollars, like you're paying rents that are millions of dollars a year, you really don't want to get things wrong.
Of course not.
So we can do that at scale. You can upload the whole portfolio in, ask you questions, and when you ask for something specific, it'll bring up the lease next to the question you've asked to point out exactly, this is where I got it from. I'm not making this up. This is exactly where I got it from. Mm-hmm. Feel free to double check. So that's what we do. That's
perfect. Well, I'm guessing, and just kind of going back on your point with the whole ChatGPT thing, the thing I think that a lot of people, and we've started to use it a little bit more on the SQM side, if you're, by the sounds of it, if you're going to, say, the doctor, right? You go to a GP.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is like a general practitioner. They kind of understand general functions, but FLNT is specifically designed for this specific task. They're both AI products, but one is custom built to do a specific job, which is to understand highly complicated documents, not just say, can you please write up my 500-word essay or whatever it is.
That's right.
So, well, that's fascinating, and I can clearly see where the, I guess, advantage for a lot of these companies are. Is there other things that you're using the AI for other than just reading the documents, or are there other sort of?
Yeah. So the document reading is not. It's kind of the foundation of it.
Yep.
But if you think about when you use ChatGPT or you use Gemini or you use Claude, whatever it is,
the
way you ask a question determines the answer, the prompt, right? Not everybody is an expert in prompts. And what AI does is understand the context before it answers the question. The more context you give it, the better it is. And it has to be the right context. So we specialize in building that context. We have people in the team who are AI developers who are understanding commercial property in depth and provided the right context. So when the words are fed into the AI engine, they have the context in the background to really get the right answer. Because if you try it without asking it the right way, you will get a different answer to if you ask it another way. What's the correct answer? So we really spend a lot of time looking at the nuances and figuring out, is this correct? Is this not correct? And then asking it really challenging questions. Is this working? Is this not working? And see what it spits out.
Are you able to get statistics around the portfolios of the clients that you've got as well?
So portfolios, we have about 20 or so clients using this service.
Yep.
We have 120, 130 clients in total using our other data services as well. And all of these clients that we have are able to manage their portfolios with very small teams. Why would you need a bigger team now? You don't have to actually read the leases. So a very small team, like they usually are, a tight-knit team, can manage a portfolio of hundreds of properties. One of my clients even in the thousands. So it's really possible to do a lot more because you're not doing the grunt work of looking for leases. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And so we've been talking about this product. Tell us about the other product that your 120 client.
Yes. So the reason we built this system that I just talked about, Accurate, is because we have a database of about 94,000 commercial leases. And we bought a business called Lease Info inside of FLNT a few years ago. It's been running for 20 years. And to compare it to residential property, for example, if you're looking to buy a property, you're looking to rent a property, you go on domain.com, realestate.com, and you say, you know what, this one rents for $700 a week. Cool. What's that one rent for? Oh, that's about $700, looks about the same. I'm not going to pay $800 for this when that one's $700 down the street. Very simple, right?
Yeah.
Commercial property is opaque, so you don't have that information. So when you're looking at renting, say in a shopping center, and you're seeing it's going to cost me $2,500 per square meter to rent in, that's pretty cheap, say Bondi Junction shopping center, you want to know what the guy over there is paying, right? Because he might be paying $1,500 a square meter, but you don't know. So that's what we do. We actually have a database of all these leases, so you can compare. In my industry, based on what I do, is this reasonable rent to pay or not? And it helps with negotiation. So that's our main product. And people have been relying on that for a long time. And we have all the household brands using that as well, like Specsavers as a client, Boost Juice, Guzman and Gomez, Vicinity Group, GPT, Mirvac, Stockland. We have pretty much all the household names that you can think of in shopping centers using that. So they can see what everybody else is paying. They can see what's a reasonable rent to pay for the location they want to go into. And also for expansion, they can see what are the leases coming up for expiry soon. I want to expand my business. It's going really well. And I want to go into that shopping center. What's coming up to expiry? I don't know. So I need to get a database to see what's coming up.
Because a lot of these agreements, and my wife and I actually just went through this. We just bought a commercial property for her business.
Nice.
So we kind of went through this whole process where we looked to rent another property, and we just found different, you might have the same building, the same square meterage, but if you've got two different landlords, they can charge you two different prices.
Yes.
And you don't know exactly what that price is going to be.
Yeah.
We actually ended up saying, well, screw it, we're just going to buy another property, because it actually ended up being cheaper than renting it. But we were sort of asking around the building, okay, what are you paying? What are you paying? What are you paying? How much square meterage? How much square meterage? Da, 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 because you've got all these individual landlords and they've got all these kind of different levers and different financial strains they themselves have on the particular properties.
And that's how it's always been done. People have just made relationships over the years. They've called each other, hey, what are you paying for this? What did you do this property for? They're calling property managers and agents and trying to find out more details. And that's great. That's the only way that used to work, right? So we thought we'd put together a database and really supercharge it with as much detail as we can so people can have a full analytical view on what's going on. So if they want to see not just what's going on here, I want to see what's going on this side of the state, they can do that and they can compare.
And this is, and look, to our audience, this is kind of a conversation we were having before we started this, was around the idea of commercial AVMs, commercial automated valuation, why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
Because you really don't now, for those of our clients that don't know, we actually have a rental AVM, rental prices, as you well know, Harry. But you can't really do that with commercial property because everybody, as you said, it's opaque. They keep their cards close to their chest. So it's really hard to know what to create a rough rental estimate of what you should be paying in a particular area without a database that can accurately tell you that owns a large enough book to say, well, this is this much and this is that much.
That's right. And when you're commercial property, the level of transactions in commercial are a lot lower than resi. So you got about 20,000 or so commercial property transactions a year in Australia, around that number, and you have about 600,000 resi. So the numbers are different, but the magnitude is different too. So commercial, you're looking at much higher value properties at the same time. A lot of the time, there was a sale for Erin Affair, the shopping centre up north, close to Central Coast.
I know Erin Affair well, yeah.
900 million.
900 million for Erin Affair?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how would that work for a valuation? I don't know.
Well, what are you comparing it to? That's the problem.
So the comparison, the comparison is
you've
tough.
got location,
which
what are you comparing Erin Affair to? What, a shopping centre in Wollongong or maybe Newcastle or somewhere close by?
Mm-hmm.
But then you've also got to sort of look at surrounding. Yeah, it'd be very hard to kind of value that accurately.
You've got hundreds of leases in that shopping centre. You've got the land value to look at. You've got the demographics to look at the same time. You need a team of analysts to really dive into the detail and do some due diligence on this before you put a price up, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge with trying to build an AVM for commercial property, because they're also different. There could be another property like you bought with your wife, which is completely different demographic, completely different place, completely different use case. How do you know how to value that? How can the valuation model pick up on the discrepancies? And if I was a fund manager putting in the $900 million, would I trust the valuation, or would I do my own research?
So, a question to you, Harry. What are things that we can look to in AI to help us understand data from a commercial property point of view? Because we have pretty clear metrics on the residential side, because residential data is fairly available and pretty standardized.
Yeah.
But on a commercial point of view, how can we use AI to help us understand a fairly opaque data sets?
So AI is really good at making connections. You can give it point A and ask it to find your connection to point B. And the way it does that is not always correct, but it can do it. So I can ask it, hey, how does the price of milk impact? How has Trump's policies impacted the price of milk in Australia? And it'll probably find something for me to look at, right? It's just a funny example. But for data, you think about a data analyst, like you have plenty in the team, you have plenty of analysts in the team here. You can ask them to compare this and find a correlation to this or causation between the data sets. That's what AI can do. You can give it data, you can give it plenty of data if you want to, and ask it to find linkages and patterns between the data. The raw data itself, actually getting the data from scratch, that's the gold. You have to find it yourself. The AI can't find it for you. But if you can feed it the right data, then it can make linkages for you and tell you, or even advise you on how you can connect to what you want to do, your use case. So to give you an example, not a data example, my wife was having some tests done medically, and she was getting a lot of reports, medical reports. And I asked the doctor, hey, can you send them all to me? I'll check them out. Plugged in ChatGPT, and it spit out in a very easy language what I could do about it, or how do I understand this medical terminology, right? So when I went to talk to the doctor next, I could say, does that make sense? Like, I could connect the dots with the doctor. I could actually talk to them and have a conversation.
Knowledge is power, right? And anything that allows you to accumulate knowledge in a understandable way gives you the ability to make sensible decisions.
So it brought me up to a like a baseline level where I could have a conversation about it, and that's kind of what it's good for. With data, it's same kind of situation. You could compare a few different data sets, and you can ask for linkages at a base level. So you can do the basics. When you want to start getting into more technical things and you want to talk about some of the analysis you guys do at SQM, you really need someone behind the scenes thinking about what's the right way to look at this. How do you interpret this? Because that's when the skill comes in. It's done the gruntwork, but you really got to interpret the data. That's the use case. What decisions are going to come on the back of this? You still need a human for that. So AI can get you from 0 to 1 very quickly, but to actually use it, you have to make the decisions.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that's all we have time for today. So, Harry, thank you so much for your time. Is there
No
anything
worries.
you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me. So great to see the guys at SQM again. And it'll be great to come back, have a chat more about Flint. We're working on a lot of different things in commercial prop tech. We are building a new model, which we released early next year, which is taking the AI part of what we do to the next level. Can't wait to share it with you guys.
Guys, please check out Flint if you can. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Harry.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.